So, I'm sure you probably have heard about this, and there are several sources, some that you may or may not trust, that have come out and pretty much confirmed this, that Endeavor has been made aware of the backlash that WWE is getting for Vince being involved heavily in Monday Night Raw this past Monday. And also on top of that, there are some people that have commented in various, sites that there were several Endeavor executives or people that were at Raw that were not happy with what they saw. And if this is true, because it's not just sites like Ringside News, but there's others that are picking up on it as we speak. If this is indeed true, I can tell you this, because they are in the process of a major transaction that's going to merge WWE with UFC under a new company name. It's spun off from Endeavor. That Ari Emanuel will be the chairman of, along with being the chairman of Endeavor. And Vince is going to have to answer to now, because that's going to be his boss. Basically, I think to save face, they're probably going to have to talk to Vince. And I think that's going to probably be what happens. They're going to probably talk to Vince. They're going to probably ask him if what they're hearing is true and everything, because they're hearing constantly all over the place, not just fans, but everybody involved, including some of their own, that the Raw after Mania stunk and it felt like Vince was running things. Now, whatever Vince's answer is going to be, it better be a good one. But I guarantee you, whatever answer he gets or gives in response, if he's asked this, or, when they talk to him, I have a feeling they're going to suggest, look, why don't you lay low, let your son-in-law handle it from now on, and then if you have to jump in, jump in only when you feel it's the most important. And maybe they'll give an example of most important being the main event scene, like the Undisputed Championship or whatever. Stuff like that. That might be what they suggest. They might suggest that only jump in when necessary and then when it's really important. Not, just jump in because you feel like it. Now, Vince might say, hey, I was just trying to help him out. Just go with what I know best. Go with my strategy that I know best, and see how it helps out and everything. Helps him out. Maybe he'll come up with that as his reasoning. I can't. I can't say that that's going to be. I'm not going to say that's going to be true or not, but Vince always tries to find a way to say, try to save face. We know he does. But the overall feeling I get is I don't think we'll have to worry about the screw up that we got that was Raw on Monday this Friday. I don't think we will. Because there are talks that they're testing people out, and that, Monday was Vince's turn, which I don't think that's true or not. I think it's only being said because he was there in Los Angeles. And I think it's being said because of the fact that, mainly, everybody has to consider that the Raw after Mania is still part of WrestleMania. And that maybe he felt, in his mind, that he was helping out by giving these suggestions or telling them, hey, let's just go with what I've done before, go with my plan, and, just go from there. And maybe that's what they did. We don't know. And what's funny, too, is you have a lot of reports now coming out, through Fightful and everything, basically talking about the, the behind-the-scenes productions and all that. And apparently, even though there were some things that were cut, probably due to Vince suggesting they be cut for time, and maybe in his mind, hey, give the talent a bit of a break, not be so stressful or anything, or, keep them healthy or something. I don't know. Maybe that'll be his excuse. I don't know. But apparently, a majority of what we saw was already planned out, was already inked out, with a few exceptions. Like Lesnar-Rhodes feud, that was already mapped out. That was already set in stone. Seth Rollins segment, that was meant to be the way it was, despite the video leaking online of him talking to a production person or whatever. We'll say, so it seems that, excuse me, it seems that despite a few changes on said day, and maybe even during production, because Vince made these suggestions and all that, from his point of view and everything, and him being in Gorilla, it seems that a lot of stuff pretty much was already planned. And I think pretty much a lot of it was planned to make things a lot easier, a lot more, less stressful and tenuous, like this past week was. That's the feeling I'm getting. Now, I'm not trying to make an excuse for Vince or defend him. If it does come out that, hey, he was on a headset, and he was like, dude, say this, Corey Graves, say that, Patrick Kelly, or Kevin Patrick, say this, say that. If it comes out he was calling the shots for real, and he was on a headset, like, reports are that he was at Mania, which, again, I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm not saying this to defend the guy. I just feel like lately a lot of sources, as I've mentioned previously, I think a lot of these sources are hard to believe because, again, you cannot tell me, ever since Triple H has taken control of creative, you cannot tell me that that some of the reports we've been getting have been kind of been thrown on their ear, and that sometimes we're getting some very genuine surprises that we didn't expect were going to happen. We didn't expect to see, and yet we're getting them. We are getting these, and even to the point that Sean Ross Sapp and Mike Johnson and that are surprised, like, holy smokes, what the hell? Like, I didn't expect this. I didn't know this was going to happen. No one told us anything. It's because of the fact that Triple H is aware. He and his team is aware of the moles in the company that are leaking out information to those websites. And you know what he's saying? He's probably telling his team, hey, tell them this is what's going on, to throw them off, because, in actuality, we're doing something different. And maybe that's what they're doing. That's why I looked at a lot of the reports of Vince being in charge, Vince doing this, Vince doing that, I find it very hard to believe. I mean, I'm not denying some of it wasn't true. I'm not denying that, but I just find it hard to believe it was, being exaggerated in the way that it was. Like morale down, talent, even top talent, basically making it known, oh, we're going to request our release and all that. I'm like, come on, seriously? You think I'm going to believe that? I'm not. I'm not going to believe that for one moment. Unless you have a name or names to back that up, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to believe it whatsoever, period. So, so in my opinion, I look at it this way. As long as word is out there that Endeavor, the people that will be owning WWE, that's in this transactional process of owning it, that's supposed to finalize at the earliest being July 1st, or at the latest at the end of the year, beginning of 2024. What I believe more is them being made aware of this. I'm more inclined to believe them being made aware of this more so than anything. And if because they are, I've got a feeling Vince may not be as involved with creative as he was on Monday, according to what sources are saying. I don't think he'll be that involved, period. As a matter of fact, I think he'll be hands-off unless it's necessary. And I think they're going to talk to him. I think they will phone call him, video call him, whatever they do. And they're going to say, look, we heard that you were heavily involved with Raw on Monday when you said you wouldn't be. Can you please not do that anymore because fans were not happy and it makes us look like idiots for purchasing a company where its leader, who's going to be working for us now, is a liar. And maybe they'll ask him, as the transaction stuff goes on for the next couple months, maybe they'll take him aside and say, look, we've known you are capable of lying. What else have you been lying about to us? What else are you hiding from us? So yeah, I think, to save face, hopefully they will suggest to Vince, hey, don't involve yourself in creative as much as you did on Monday, even though maybe in your mind you had good intentions to kind of take the strenuous stress off your son-in-law because this is his first Raw after Mania. Maybe don't involve yourself as much, or don't put so much of your ideas into the program as you did, because fans nowadays, and maybe somebody will point this out to him, fans nowadays are smart enough to pretty much pick up on what is a Vince, what is a Vince booking or a Vince idea, and what is not. So hopefully they do talk to him, and hopefully he won't be as involved, if even involved, period, on Friday, which does tell me we will get a good SmackDown. And I think it's not just because, Vince may not be involved in any capacity. I think it's mainly because everybody from Triple H and his crew, his team, and the talent and the crew will be more well rested. They will be more well rested. I don't think they have any house shows going on between Raw and Friday, so they'll be more well rested. They won't be so beat up, and they'll be raring to go, fresh minds and everything, because they'll have days to plan out what they want to do. And if they have anything that needs to be changed, hopefully they can get it changed before that Friday. Because, let's be honest, when they do have change happen, even under Triple H, sometimes it will happen on the day of the show, but hours before. And sometimes it'll happen, maybe a day or maybe a day or so beforehand. That's the only time. So it gives them time to come up with ideas, and if any changes do happen, hopefully it'll happen before Friday. Which is why I think Friday, is mostly a better show, because they'll have time in between. And also we got to remember they're on a bigger platform than USA. They're on a national platform. That is Fox. So yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about, hopefully, on Friday. Hopefully. But we'll have to see. But I think because Endeavor is getting word about this, or hearing about this, and even some being, in attendance, not being through with what they saw, yeah, I don't think we'll have to worry about Friday being, as controversial or, negatively fed and all that, especially if you're Endeavor and you're hearing reports of fans at the NXT show on Tuesday, chanting "Fire Vince," and you're seeing on Twitter and social media, which I'm pretty sure they have more stronger presence on than WWE, or at least paying more attention to than WWE, or Vince, that is. They're probably noticing on Twitter the hashtag of "Fire Vince, get rid of Vince." So I'm pretty sure they not only are made aware, but I'm pretty sure they're going to get in contact with Vince and pretty much tell him, hey, keep away from creative right now. Keep your hands off as much as you can. Don't get involved too much, if at all, until things settle down, and let's just let your son-in-law do what he does best. And I think that's what's going to happen. Again, he might tell them, hey, I was only doing what I felt was going to take the stress off him, because of this is his first Raw after Mania. He just got out of doing his first WrestleMania. Maybe that's Vince's idea. Maybe that would be Vince's excuse. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about. And again, as far as like these reports coming out of, oh, talent is threatening to walk, they're threatening to request a release, and everything. It's like, seriously, I don't believe any of that. I think those are situations to where those are the kind of reports and sources being given that are unbelievable, that they're being told by the higher anarchy in WWE, like a Triple H or whoever, hey, say this, and make them think that, and go from there. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think we have anything to really worry about. When it comes to, Friday, because again, if you're buying a company on a national level, national publicly traded level, if you're buying a company, and the man that owns said company tells you in front of the world, with you, his new boss, sitting next to him in an interview, I'm not going to be in the weeds like I used to be. Like on a higher level, yes, but not like what he used to be, like always, hands on and all that. You know, the thing is, you know, I've got a feeling I've got a feeling basically, you know, he's not going to be involved. I really don't. Because again, you know, if they're aware that, you know, the guy that they're doing business with, you know, buying his company, you know, making him an employee under the guy that's going to be the new boss, the new owner, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, I don't think we have anything to worry about. I really don't. I really don't. But, yeah, and again, as far as these reports of, oh, Vince is, you know, telling them, it's like, come on, seriously, that's not true. That's not true whatsoever. And if anybody wants to know why we're getting all these false accounts, like false troll accounts of Sean Ross Sapp and others, you know, saying this and that when it's not true, it's because they are basically making a mockery of you guys. They're making a mockery of you guys for believing such nonsense. They are. And hey, look, I don't like the fact that they're doing that. In fact, I hate it. To be honest with you, I hate it. You know, and everything. I think it's disrespectful that they're doing that, because you guys put a lot of hard work and hours into trying to, you know, inform us, the fans, you know, of what's going on. But, you know, I think the reason though that they could put these false accounts up is because they look at you and they're like, man, you believe everything that's told to you, even when it's probably not true. Which is why they're making a mockery of you. And they also do this because they know fans not only pay attention to you guys, but they're willing to believe anything you say because you're willing to believe any information you get when it may not be true. And, you know, that shouldn't happen, I admit that. But, you know, this is why I think you should be more careful about who you get your information from. Like, if your reliable source is telling you this, as I mentioned previously in a video, you should ask them, hey, is what you're telling me true, or is it a lie? Or do you even know what's going on? That's what you need to do from now on. But honestly, you know, getting back to the video, you know, to hear that, you know, Endeavor, and I'm more willing to believe this than anything, to hear that Endeavor is aware of the backlash, I think we're going to be all right. Because again, I think Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro are going to talk to Vince and they're going to say, look, don't do what you did on Monday ever again. Keep your hands off unless it comes to, let's say, the main event scene. And that's it. You know, so, yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about anymore. And again, you know, it was Raw after Mania, still part of WrestleMania. Vince, you knew was going to be there, just like he was at Mania. And obviously, he probably believed he was helping out, you know, not only to impress his new bosses, but to take the stress off his son-in-law, because it's his first one. But we'll see. We shall see what happens on Friday. I know people find it hard to believe that Vince won't be involved, but I think once they hear this report, this, getting more picked up by people about Endeavor being made aware, I think they'll be able to breathe a sigh of relief, because I don't think Endeavor, I don't think Ari Emanuel is going to want to make themselves look bad, you know, while they're in the beginning processes of this transaction. I don't think they're going to want to. You know, especially when it comes to potentially losing a new fan base they're bringing in and an established fan base they have with the UFC. So, I don't think we'll have anything to worry about come Friday. So, in my opinion, right now, you can breathe a sigh of relief, you know, and just pray and hope for the best. That's all. And, yeah, that's all I'm going to really say, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll talk to you later. I got to get ready for work.